Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Trekking Across the Universe. Woo! We are going to be discussing the Series V from
The original TV
the
series.
original TV series and episodes. We're going to be talking about episodes 1 through 5. So I'd like to welcome everyone here. Liz, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. This beautiful, bright, and foggy morning.
Ooh, foggy morning. Well, we know we always like to have about foggy mornings, but and Greg, are you trying to avoid all those ships?
I think he's on
Yes,
board one.
I'm hiding on the right side of the moon.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure that you're not being abducted and put in the cargo hold, etc.
No, I'm safe up in the northeast where the red dust is still active.
Oh, good,
Good
good.
for you.
Yeah, I'm excited to know about that. So, but hey, what can you do? You just have to keep with that red dust. That
Of course, this morning we got a surprise of about
uh,
2 inches of the white dust.
oh
Ah,
my! Oh, it wasn't announced beforehand.
I didn't think it was supposed to start until tomorrow late,
Oh,
which was why I have to travel, and I was hoping to get that done today.
however, now it did it. Is it just up your way, or is it all up that whole
I don't know. I
northeast?
haven't looked. I was
You were just
trying
shocked
to
as it
finish
was.
getting my stuff together and finish the 5th episode, which I didn't get to do.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
But hopefully I remember enough, having seen most of it. The the weather's just been terribly cold, and we've already, I think, had more snow in the last week than we have had in half of last winter. So
oh, wow.
yeah, last winter was very dry.
That's interesting.
Well, I did know one thing I wanted to say before we started. I don't know how we're going to break down if it's going to be episode by episode or just go throughout the whole thing. But just as an announcement and a reminder, maybe if people didn't know or did know, episodes 3 and 4 were shot differently because episode 3, as you're going through and watching it, was originally pulled from the air and was not actually released until after the show was in reruns because of the violent content. So episode number 4 was the one that was shot and released as episode 3. So if you're seeing some continuity issues, it's because of that.
Well, that
Oh,
explains one of my comments, because I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, why doesn't Tyler remember being in the prison camp with Kyle?
exactly. That was the
And
reason.
why'd they have to repeat that dialogue?
Hmm.
Now that makes sense.
And see, Robin should have known too, and Robin should have known, you know, Tyler as well, because everybody all knew everybody in the camp. So that
That's
whole
what I
thing,
thought.
yeah, everybody all knew everybody. So if that was confusing, there's your answer for that.
I thought Robin was in a different camp.
No, Robin was in the same camp.
Okay. Okay.
oh, yeah. I'm just looking at the details. Yeah, it was a year, 6, 7 months later that episode 3 aired. Yeah, I did not even realize that.
Yeah.
That is
Interesting.
that is interesting. Well, let's see. Do you want to? I'm going to make a comment too. I the one thing that I did notice that I did not notice the first time I saw it, and I don't think I've really seen this until I saw it originally, back in '84, um, which is interesting. I thought I had, but I don't think I had. But I was shocked at how little visual effects, new visual effects they used.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them were rehashes from Final Battle and from the original movie.
Sometimes more than once in the same sequence, like the shuttle flying through
Yes,
the valley.
yes, and sometimes the dialogue didn't match up with the visuals.
Exactly. Also, there's a couple things that you mentioned that, Michael. Also, there's a few scenes from War of the Worlds in there that they cut.
Mm.
And also, when you were saying that the visuals didn't match up with the dialogue, they had actually thrown in some of the dialogue from the actual news reporters announcing of the Hindenburg going down. Oh, when he makes that quote, "Oh, the humanity." I
Oh,
recognized that instantly because that's something that I've researched for years. And I'm like, no, that can't be. They've got to just have taken it from that. And I researched it, and no, it is actually the same reporter. It's his voice. It was just an audio clip that was taken out and put into there.
interesting. Yeah, and
Wow.
the other thing is um, budget. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
they did not have a budget. I mean, I just thought to myself, aliens would not be riding motorcycles. They would be getting in their little spacecraft because it would get there faster and they could fire on people. They would not go with motorcycles. That was all for budget constraints, and I'm sure. Um, and the I don't know. It felt it felt also like a cops and robbers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just the way it was designed. It didn't seem like a sci-fi show at all to me. But that was my. And as I said, I didn't remember that the first time I saw it. I guess like what some people said, they were so excited to have V come back. We just didn't register back then. So I guess I don't know.
Well, also we weren't watching the episodes back to back.
No, that's true. That's true. And I think it does make a difference when we're watching it back to back.
The some of the continuity though, I think, and some of the budgets, like they spent a lot on hair.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hair is the most important.
It seems like Diana's hair like changed episode to episode until they finally settled.
Bigger the volume, baby. The bigger the volume.
Gotta love the 80s.
Eh.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true because that was.
We all thought we were cool. That's all.
Well, of course we did. Yeah. When we had it, we could actually have volume.
Yep. So and also, I think didn't they change Diana's costume was white in a good chunk of one of the episodes.
It was white when she went down to do the agreement pact with I forget his name, the one that was basically running LA, and to make Nathan, and to make it a open city. It was it was for that, specifically for that, not her traditional red, orangey red.
Interesting. It's all kind of jumbled together over, when you try to binge 4 hours of TV.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of all just runs together.
Well, it does. And I mean, it's, yeah. But I said it does now the continuity does make sense now with what Liz said.
Yes.
They didn't show that one episode. And it was violent. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some even in Final Conflict, I mean, it looked like there was some critical scenes that were sacrificed for editing too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's like they almost like rushed and glossed over rescuing Julie.
Uh-huh.
It's like I mean, I know I wasn't paying that close attention, and it's like all of a sudden she's back on Earth. And like a footnote. Oh, okay. I would have thought that would have been bigger with all the scenes leading up to it.
Now, so the first episode was Liberation Day,
Yes.
and we see that Diana was captured, and she finds out that the red dust isn't working anymore.
Yeah, because she'd taken Martin's last pill. And I hated
Yeah.
when Martin died. I really liked Martin.
Yeah, well, that's why
that
they
was a
brought
shock,
him.
too.
That's why they brought the actor back in a few more episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think it's in what, 7?
I think it's in 7. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I did like him too, and I was sorry that that character went. So, and I think they realized they had made an error. But
Even with budget constraints, they made because they were hiding out in a shack during that activity, they made it kind of work using the the vinyl tent to keep Diana safe and
yeah.
Like the tight shots too. I mean, it was almost like we use this somewhere else and we don't want people to recognize it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the first one?
The stuff with Elizabeth was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like rewatching the end of the miniseries, where she like gets all glowy and stuff. Was weird enough, but then she goes into a cocoon, and it's like, okay, she's actually going to turn into. They're going to do something with prosthetics and make her more alien.
No.
Just 15 years so they could get a adult actress in there.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that infuriated me. Robin goes to leave, and it's like, okay, she's going away for a couple of days, not going to be gone, never going to see her kid for like a year or more, and that's how they're portraying it. And I didn't like that feeling of, oh my God, I don't want to leave her alone, and her dad's telling her, well, go ahead and go, she'll be fine. But how long has she had Elizabeth at this point? It's been at least a year since the end of, the fall.
Yeah.
Don't you think Mom would want to go on like, a weekend trip somewhere and not have a problem leaving your kid behind? Especially with their grandfather? This whole thing of, oh, well, I'll be back and I love you. And it was just too dramatized.
Yeah, it was over dramatized, but a lot of that could have been chalked up to they had some dialogue. She was still kind of like struggling with having killed Brian and in front of her and things like that. So
maybe, I guess so. I don't know. I just didn't care for that. Yeah. And it seemed to me, okay, Robin was how old when she had Elizabeth? 17. So Robin cannot be much older than 19 now. And yet they've morphed Elizabeth into being 16-ish.
Yeah.
But yet Robin even now carries herself much older than 19 years old. Granted, she's been through a lot. But it just seems like the writers weren't thinking age-wise. They needed to make it a little more realistic.
Well, I think they also wanted to do a love triangle.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I think
Kyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think. Hey, Miss Marcia.
There we go.
Hey, Marcia.
Maybe. But yeah, that was my feeling, that I think that was one of the other reasons that they wanted to age her, is they wanted to do the love triangle, which they did start.
They started it.
Poor little Kyle was, involved with both of them and didn't realize who, they were at first. And,
But I think Kyle only was attracted to Elizabeth, whereas with Robin, he was kind of taken aback by it and was willing to help her out, let her stay at his place.
yeah.
But I don't think he had any actual notions that way. It was, he saw Elizabeth and it was, laser focused.
Yeah, but still, both girls liked him. So,
But well, yeah, mother like daughter. Generally have the same taste
Exactly.
in certain things.
mhm.
Stop
I
laughing
called
down
him
there,
No
Marcia.
Shirt Kyle. I call him
Oh,
Are
No
we
Shirt.
going this direction, Marcia?
I'm sorry. I was not feeling well and I woke up late. I'm so sorry. This is not like me, but
No, that's
Oh, it
okay.
happens. At
least you came.
Yeah.
just in time to talk about No Shirt Kyle.
Well, you didn't have to.
But I had to. I really did. But
Yeah,
I heard
I
that
noticed none of the guys were spared from not having to wear tight jeans.
That didn't bother me at all. Like I
Sure
said,
did.
I'd much rather see Mark walking away than walking toward. Although walking toward was pretty good there in a couple of spots too.
Oh yeah, he made the most out of the personal trainer there. In
Oh,
that
yeah.
episode where he was kept captive.
Oh my goodness. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
talking about the
he's
cocoon episode, the cocoon part with Elizabeth, that was really disturbing. And when you were little to watch that, she's like trapped in this cocoon thing.
Screaming.
I really liked the younger actress though. I thought she was pretty good. No?
yeah, no, she was good.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have a lot of lines, but I mean, she had that judgmental stare down pat.
Oh yeah.
Um, the one of the scenes that in that first episode that she was really good in was where she's with the horse and the helicopter's there,
Mm-hmm.
and action is all with the crew on the helicopters, saying what's going on, and you just get the idea that she's doing something telekinetic. Um,
But we had already kind of seen her do telekinetic before at the end of the last half of the miniseries with her on
right,
the ship. So
but between the editing and her taking direction well, and I just think it was she got underutilized.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I know they had a lot of rules about using child actors at the time.
Especially that particular time after what had already happened, on a certain other television show set. So
From the 60s, and
Yeah.
And
well, I'm
So,
thinking more the 80s with what happened, but
I mean, the transformation, I believe, was more to get an adult actor that they could utilize more in the scripts.
mm-hmm.
well, especially if they were going to do that love, aspect, which was what the whole thing, winds up being.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Of course it was.
And is it my imagination, or did they change the color of the uniform slightly from that dark red to that orangey kind
It was kind of an orangey, yeah. Yeah.
That could also have been a lighting thing. I was trying to remember how many outside episodes they had how many outside scenes they had in the miniseries, because there was a lot of daylight shooting in this one in the show.
Well, they had a bunch because even when they met the shuttle, everybody, the soldiers were out there. Well, they didn't have a lot of them come to think of it. It just seemed more orange, not to mention their voices. I'm sure you talked about that already. But,
No, haven't gotten that part
No, we
yet.
haven't gotten there yet.
oh,
Yeah.
ooh, okay.
Yeah.
We the other thing could be is they faded in laundry. Because I mean, if they were budget conscious, they would have used every
Yeah.
uniform they had for all the extras and
Mhm.
from the miniseries.
Well, it actually surprised me that they used as many laser fires as they did, considering we had talked about how expensive each laser fire was with the original miniseries. And then it's like they're firing them off almost right and left. And I'm like, aren't you under budget constraint? Isn't this like your top thing for the budget wise? Don't spend
No,
it all like that.
I think they probably might have found a way to do it cheaper.
Yeah,
And then also, I think they obviously cut the budget other places.
Yeah.
Obviously.
yeah, they probably improved on the practical. I think they called them squibs, the things that blow up and make it look like something got hit.
Yeah. No, I agree.
They might have gotten some sort of like firecracker that made that
True.
flare really well.
I have to say one thing I thought was really kind of funny in the in the first episode where Diana gets a hitch ride and she goes.
Oh.
Gets,
Oh yeah,
Oh, she eats them.
oh my gosh! I kept thinking that old saying, "Don't come a knocking when the truck is
It's
rocking."
a rocking.
yeah,
Totally
that wasn't a
different
good
reason.
rock though.
I don't think I'd want to eat him either. He looks like he might have given me indigestion.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be a easy meal.
But I forget which episode it was. 4 or was it 5? Where Donovan's being held hostage, and they come in with the hologramic effect of himself.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
she was like, "Oh, here, have a pastry," and then she's like downing a mice.
Yeah, and then he like kisses her. I mean, can't you taste the difference
Ooh.
between a mouse and a pastry? Holograms don't cover taste.
No,
But I think it was also. I mean, I think it was a mind control thing too.
true. Remember, he was under medication, so
Now, did they recast his son Sean for the?
No, I checked.
he just grew up.
He grew up.
Yep.
Okay,
grew
so
up.
he aged
He
Yeah.
aged a
And
lot. Well, he
so
aged,
much,
he
so
aged-
much so that he looked not much like his younger self,
No, but
nor
he,
that he would be Brian
he
Singer's son,
Mm-hmm.
Mark Singer's son.
yeah he aged a lot between the original movie and the final battle, if you remember.
Yeah.
I mean, but then it was even more for the series. So
Yeah.
But I mean,
I had
didn't
to look
it
at
up.
IMDb because I thought the same thing, and I went, "Oh, they got a different actor." I went, "Nope, they did
That's
not."
what I thought. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, no, he looked more like he'd be like me or Roger's kid in that episode.
Yeah, but-
So the first episode was Liberation Day, right?
yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
And then next is Dreadnought.
Dreadnought. Mm-hmm.
And then I think before you came on, Marcia, I had explained some of the continuity issues between 3 and 4. I had explained what was going on with the continuity issues between episodes 3 and episodes 4. So were you able to listen to that, or do you know what it was?
I had looked that up before. Yes.
Okay, so you're aware of that. Okay.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Because then that made more sense about what, huh? And
Yeah, I when I first viewed the first through 5, and I went like you did, huh?
Mhm.
And then I read what had happened. So yeah.
yeah, but Let's see. We want to talk about anything specifically about episode 2 that you can remember. That was the beginning of the Triac super weapon when Diana was getting it over there.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't remember much that was specifically about that episode. It was more like continuity of the first, making sure we got to know the new characters, and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it was very interstitial, I think.
Well, and then Elias and his new
Restaurant.
used to be a bordello place.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think they kind of underutilized him though. Later on, I would have liked to seen more of Willie and Elias.
Yeah.
Willie wasn't used that much either.
No, he wasn't. Yeah,
I mean, was he already doing the Nightmare films at that point?
He may have been.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the timeline. I think it's a possibility.
84, 85.
Yeah.
So if these were filmed late 83, early 84, he may have already had other work. I was actually surprised that they almost made Willie's misuse of language a joke. You'd think he would have gotten better.
You would think so at this point. And it's like, I got to tell you, you're a great big zero. I'll always think of you. And I'm thinking, and he looks
yeah.
Hero, Willie. Hero.
That and the other one that stood out was Good Purchase.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the restaurant set didn't really look like a decent restaurant set.
No. I think they used something that they already had.
Yeah.
Just,
that budget thing.
It didn't look like something that was meant to be filmed to show the dining room.
No,
it didn't.
To think of it, you're right. We didn't see many tables for people to sit at, did we?
No. The bar.
No, and when they the angle when they were raiding the restaurant, you could kind of see like the wall opposite of the bar, and I'm like, yeah, there's no room for tables in there.
No.
Many tables, maybe 2. But
yeah, that doesn't sound like a very profitable restaurant.
It seems to me that if they had made a bigger set, that whole thing could have been better utilized.
Yeah.
But they may have also, been constrained by the actor, Robert Englund's ability.
Well, with his time, and honestly, most of the filming when they were all together was down in the basement.
Yes.
Yeah, which was probably a different set on a soundstage somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
There's something about the British accents. My boyfriend's a real super Star Wars fan. I mean, really mega. But and he was telling me that the reason why they used, aside from the budget was better, but in shooting in England, but people sound more evil with a British accent for some reason. Because
I think that stems back from Dr. No. Thank you. I really do.
Interesting.
And that the way they talk, the pronunciation of the letters can sound more ominous. And so I looked at these episodes, and I looked at Lydia and with her accent, and I thought, oh, okay, well, that's a way to kind of add that ominousness at no budget, Michael.
I did not care for Lydia. I never did.
Yeah.
And going back to my hairdresser comment, it's like her hairstyle, was very unflattering. It almost concealed her face.
But I almost wonder if that wasn't done on purpose.
Or maybe it was a wig.
Star. Jane was the star.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. We had Sarah Douglas come in, and she still looked like $1,000,000.
Yeah, but it also depends on what the actress throws behind the set and what she wants. And no, I won't be outshined by this and this and this. So,
Since you mentioned Sarah Douglas, there's a little Stargate story because I don't know if you watched Stargate SG-1, but Sarah Douglas was in Stargate SG-1 she was the Tok'ra, and
Tok'ra.
I had her as a guest at Dragon Con one year, and she couldn't remember her role. She was there for Stargate, and she said, I don't remember being on Stargate. And I was like, huh? Could you at least have gone back? Don't tell anybody this, and watched your episode before you got to the convention, so that you would know what. But she remembered V, of course, and she
Well,
remembers.
maybe she was busy with other things at the time.
So but I just thought that was interesting, and sometimes when stars meet their fans, you got to prepare a little bit for it, I think.
Well, especially if you're going to expect Stargate fans or something.
We're kind of rabid, those of us out there.
Well, and honestly, if you think about it, she might not have been on set very much for SG-1, because if you think about the scenes that she was in, she wasn't in that many.
Yeah.
And so it might have been maybe 3-4 days of filming, and that's it for those 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she may have been doing other things at the same time. So,
well, that's true.
Thinking about I'll give that, because I have met actors that don't remember what they have done, on certain things, but then they remember other things.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
remember a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
I probably won't remember this part.
It was only because she was there for Stargate. That's the reason why
that was specific
she was
to
there
that.
For Stargate.
Oh my goodness.
Then that is bad. Then that is bad. Yeah.
But I helped her remember, and so she's, oh yeah, okay, and then we were able to help relay that to the audience. That's just a little side thing, but anyway.
No,
I'd say most of us though probably bugger about Conan and Superman. So
yeah.
But we're talking about Willie. I like that they let Willie talk a little bit more about the I guess the religiousness.
The religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a neat aspect when he noticed the birthmark on.
Yes. Yeah. I like that.
Well, I like the fact that he helped Elizabeth go through part of the grieving stuff for her grandfather with the religion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I thought that was a very nice aspect to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could have developed, I don't know if they did in later episodes yet, but they could have developed that subculture within the Visitors better.
Mm-hmm.
I know later, Willie made a comment about being a veterinarian.
That was so funny. But it almost fit.
Yeah.
Were you watching him as he was making that shake?
Oh my goodness.
The egg and the Tabasco sauce, and I don't know what else was in that thing. But I'm like, oh, that's worse than a Bloody morning in the mornings.
Definitely.
I'm like, oh.
He's vegetarian. Okay.
How does that work exactly?
Exactly.
It was going through my mind. How exactly does that work?
Well, I know, you can, like, iguanas and stuff can eat, like, green leafies. But
yeah, but it
not
doesn't wind up.
only.
Yeah. It's like my husband had 2 pet iguanas for years, and unless you gave them an actual balanced diet, they got very sick.
Yeah.
So.
And even then, if it's one from in captivity, you can't, like, feed them stuff from outside.
Exactly.
And you can't just catch crickets and give them crickets.
Yeah.
So we learned that with my son's. What was she? Something dragon. But anyway, yeah, no, because I mean, we have a yard full of grasshoppers and crickets. So. Like, no, the pet store said we can't feed them wild. I'm like, oh, that's too bad.
Kimono dragon or something different?
No, bearded
Oh,
dragon.
bearded dragon. A bearded dragon. Okay.
Yeah, we're going on tangents, so these must be really memorable episodes.
Yeah.
But what about
Let's
Mike
skip
and
up to
Ham?
let's skip up to 3.
Yeah, well, we've done 2 now, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see, number 3 is this is the one that was not shown in order. So
Mhm.
I don't know how you want to handle. Do you want to just go straight to 4? Well, it kind of all meshes in.
Yeah, it meshes in at the end.
It meshes in, but the episode 3 that was aired 6 months later was called Breakout.
Mm-hmm.
And according what the synopsis of it says, Donovan and Ham are imprisoned in a visitor work camp guarded by a hideous alien monster. Nathan Bates mounts a desperate search to find the Star Child to exchange for his son Kyle, who's in Diana's custody.
All
And
I
then-
could think of about that hideous creature as I was seeing it, the only thing going through my mind was, oh, I'm watching Dune and I'm watching Tremors. That's the exact what went through my mind.
There you go.
That is just right. That is so right.
Yes, yes. And somehow they managed to get that thing underground in the with all the rocks and stuff at that altitude.
Yeah, well,
The prison camp looked more like a summer camp. They didn't really do much to dress it.
Mm-mm.
and here's okay, you couldn't break out that way. Couldn't you break out the way all it was a half between gate in, where you drive through with 2 guards, standing there. Don't tell me you couldn't have snuck out that way. Why do you have to go
Maybe
the
there was
way of
supposed to
the...
be a fence that they never showed.
Yeah, well, it was just that swinging guard gate. That was it.
Yeah, and it's like when Donovan grabbed the hose, I'm like, what the hell is he going to do with that?
Yeah.
But in the end, it was pretty decent with what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was clever. That was, a clever thing of the writing.
What was that thing called? The cribbits? I think they called the
yeah, something like that.
cribbits. I didn't know how to spell it, but that's what it sounded like.
Hey, good morning, Aisha.
Good morning, Isha.
Hi.
Or good afternoon, evening.
And
Yes.
yes,
As she says, by episode 3, the Star Child had morphed into a fully grown woman. That is true. That is true.
Yep. And actually started speaking again.
mm-hmm.
Well, at least they did let her mature. She didn't all of a sudden have the maturity of a grown woman. She was still a child inside, and they did let a lot of that come through. That she still wanted her mother desperately.
Yeah.
Who was doing Lord only knows what where she was, which was kind of strange, but
Well, it was funny. She's so desperate to find Elizabeth, and yet she's like wandering around the street, looking at things. Poor Elizabeth. She sees her across the street and goes after her. Where is she going? Into a movie theater. If I was that desperate to look for my child, who at the time I still thought my child was a little girl, I wouldn't be going to watch a movie.
Yeah, that Robin wandering the countryside was odd. It was odd. That she escaped the roadblock, but that she ends up in the work camp.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
have
she's
the same
working.
problem with that, remembering that, right? And that could have been because 3 was
It,
out of
done
order.
differently.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
continuity issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of 3, I thought the girl that was the little boy's babysitter was the woman I thought was Robin, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I see that? Maybe that wasn't Robin then earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were going to play more into that because of the camp up in the high hills or whatever that she was going to take them to, that she had taken the little boy to.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I haven't gotten so far to see if that comes back yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, they certainly used that set, though, didn't they?
Oh, they did.
Yeah, but oh well. And then let's see. Did I say what? Then episode 4, Deception. Resistance seeks to help Elizabeth escape from Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Diana captures Mike Donovan, and we had the fun thing that we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that Mike was all doped up, if you want to say, and
Oh, the holograph.
yeah,
And then
and he almost was fed, mice and all this fun stuff to eat, because it was a good little Danish, so.
oh yeah, but then he lip locks her, and like you said, Michael, can't you tell the taste, or did you get fur in your teeth as you're?
I'm sure Greg is correct. I think that his mind was clouded.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
probably
pretty
thought-
sure I'd notice the difference between pastry and mouse.
Well,
At least
maybe-
you'd hope so,
Mhm.
well,
unless it was seasoned.
maybe- but it was
Or
raw.
heavily sugared.
A lot of sugar.
Maybe it was a brown mouse covered in powdered sugar.
Maybe. Mhm.
But the only thing I can think of is when he didn't notice, like I said, you got to feel something in the mouth, unless he thought it was like coconut or something,
Mhm.
chocolate sprinkles.
Or
Yeah, no,
something.
that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. Although
No.
I did like the mouse scene at the guard when they're going to the embassy.
Yeah.
That was so funny. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, here, go help one, go have one.
Help yourself.
And he's like secretly hiding it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yum. One thing I noticed, I love when this happens. I noticed that somebody was named Kipper in this episode. Actually, it was episode 3, and I'm a big Beauty and the Beast TV show fan. And Kipper was the name of a young boy who was in a regular in that show. So I go, Kipper. I wonder if there's somebody associated with Beauty and the Beast associated with this episode. Turns out Victor Lobel directed the episode, and Victor Lobel was director of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I know.
So
Interesting.
I love when that continuity happens, and I'm trying to figure out, you wrote this terrible episode.
Yeah. And then Aisha says Donovan became a space cadet. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. So the lizards could find out about the Star Child. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But
Yeah, you'd have to be on some pretty big drugs to not catch on the fact that they keep pressing about the same exact
same
event.
thing.
I was wondering how
My
long it
other
would take them
problem
to
with
realize that the Star Child had grown up. Because I thought that maybe, but then I thought, well, they'd never had a Star Child before, so they wouldn't know that she would have morphed so quickly. So I gave them that. What do you think?
No. And then the only thing that got him out of it was when he saw that newspaper with the picture of her being a little child still. And then that kind of snapped him out of some of the stuff.
Boing!
Yeah.
But you would have also thought, I mean, his son was acting so weird. I mean, he just kind of ignored it. But,
What the message
his
say?
son-
What the message say?
You're talking about Sean was acting
Yes.
weird?
Uh-huh.
But Sean was already acting weird at the end of the miniseries.
That is true. That is
And he should have caught on then, and then he knew different things had gone on as well with Sean being on board.
Mhm.
But I understand that's why he sent him to the school. But he should have known there was still some heavy influence. You just don't, okay, send your kid off to the school and hope they'll get better. There's some
Right.
therapy and some deprogramming you need to work on first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
what has
not to
happened?
skip ahead too much, but isn't like then they find him as part dealing with the youth group people
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
that other kid was part of.
Yeah, and then we were introduced to Klaus.
Oh yes, close.
Unscrew arm.
Terminator.
Screw
Yeah.
arm electric
Because
whip.
even more evil than British is German.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And then Aisha says, I can't understand. What I can't understand is why didn't Diana or some other high-ranking alien work out that Elizabeth would morph at such a rate that she did? Well, we said I don't think they never had one.
Yeah.
So I think that's
No,
that's our consensus that they never had
Yeah.
one. So this,
They didn't know.
Something totally new. Because this was an experiment that Diane wanted to do with human and lizard breeding. Yeah.
Right.
yeah, and then well, I think it's later. I don't know when it was, but they mentioned at some point. I remember because I just thought it was kind of strange. It was like this girl was like the only one that could have conceived a hybrid, a hybrid child. And I remember, and I said I can't remember when it was, or if it was when I remember from the original run. So I can't remember what episode it was, but she said that, and I thought, really? And
have you looked at history? Any occupying force is always leaving behind. Since the dawn of time, they've always left behind children.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah, but
they
didn't
made
they
that
also have to
comment
make
that she was the
Brian-
only one that could do it, and I go, why would this? I just thought that was weird. That's all.
Well, didn't they also have to make it so Brian would be able to? Like, it was more than just, the genetic side of it. Because, like,
Well,
reptilian don't do it that way.
okay, but later on, it's like we even see with this stuff, we see Kyle trying to kind of get a little bit, turned on with Diana. So I don't think it just has to do with reptilian DNA. I think it kind of wiped that out as far as how things needed to be changed.
Yeah, true.
Well, I was watching Joe Malazzi, who you might know from Stargate SG-1. We're doing a rewatch of the old Outer Limits episodes.
Ooh.
And every day we do another one. So we're in the 18th episode of the first season, which is Z, and it's about a queen bee who takes on human form, and her pheromones influence this scientist to leave his wife and all this kind of stuff. So then, Greg, I was thinking about that as maybe it had to do with some pheromone thing that Diana's releasing, that maybe she is a seductress in that way. So I don't know, Liz, do iguanas?
I've never known them to have that kind of pheromones.
Oh darn! I was giving them credit for being.
Yeah, no, you have a good point, but not that I have ever known.
Mm-hmm. See, now that makes me. I may go look into that just to see if maybe that was something.
Well, I know snakes have a smell to me.
They do.
Yeah.
But they're not clean. Yeah.
To attract a mate or something. Just thinking. I'll look into that. You give me something to research.
Well, you could just call Diana and see what she says.
Yeah, right. I'll call. Oh, good grief! Now I forgot her name. When we were just talking about, couldn't remember Stargate. Now I can't remember her name.
Maybe the writers of this show weren't as interested in consulting biologists.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to make the story work.
Yeah. But another thing I noticed was that the troopers are really terrible shots.
They
And
always were.
they reminded me of stormtroopers. It's like, what are you hitting? Did you practice at all before you came to Earth?
Yeah, it almost makes it look like, those types of energy weapons aren't very accurate.
Because they never hit. Did they hit Mike at all? It was just funny. It was funny how terrible they are. But maybe it has
Well,
to do with their eyesight.
It might be
yeah.
their eyesight in the Earth's atmosphere. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and like their blasters, seem to have the emitter at the end of the gun, and so they obviously weren't using a rifled barrel of any kind.
But you think they would have been better trained. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And talking about Klaus, was kind of the sensei. Teach me more about Kyle. Was not Kyle, Sean. Teach me more about this and that.
Oh, that particular religion or fighting style.
Mm-hmm. I forget the name of it, but
Starts with a V, if I remember correctly.
yeah, I thought I wrote it down, but I can't. Raok? Or was that the? I forget what that was. Something to do with that whole mystical type thing. But it was really easy to me for them to get in and out of places. It seemed like Michael said, they get in, they get out, they run this way, run that way.
Yep.
That was a cheap shot, though, that Sean took on Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised it was enough to cock him out. Yeah.
And Diana was running everywhere. She had no guards with her.
In high heels.
Oh, yeah. And a side pony.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. She was a bad mother. She didn't care. And what did you think of Nate, of Bates as a character? So
Slimy.
Yeah.
Fit in with a lizard, kind of.
Mm-hmm. The human form of a lizard.
Yeah, kind of, in my opinion.
And I think his son knows it, too.
Yeah.
And like you said, when Bates finally figures out that's Elizabeth, and what was it there? At the end, his son walked out on him, and I haven't gone any further than episode 5. So. More to look forward to.
Yeah.
No, and I haven't either, from this watch. So, But
yeah, I thought I was further ahead than I was when I talked to you last, Michael. But no, I was only at the end of episode 4. I wasn't at the end of episode 6.
Yeah, well, I figured that. From what you were
that was kind of bizarre. So I watched part of 5 this morning.
What did you think about the reunion between Robin and her daughter? The reunion scene.
Kind of forced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Not
I
well
was really
directed.
yeah. And I was really expecting there to be more with Kyle.
motherly.
No, not motherly, but just there needed to be something more. It just kind of, like I said, felt forced and kind of hollow.
Mm-hmm. I'd have been on the floor if I looked at my little girl was now a grown woman. I'd been like screaming something.
Yeah, there should have been much more surprise, confusion, and then more true. I don't know. I was trying to think back to like other shows of the day, like we had the those evening subs, Dynasty, Dallas, Falcon Crest. And it's like emotions were almost like stage emotions in those. Even though the production was a lot nicer in the weekly serials than it was in the daily serials, they still had that same type of melodramatic, you don't see the emotion, everything's dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the emotional scenes, not just that one, but throughout, the first few episodes of the series felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the death of Elizabeth's, no, not Elizabeth,
Robert.
Robert's father. Yeah, that was kind of. I thought, well, why did they do
I
that?
liked Robert a lot. I'm
I
really kind
liked
of
him
upset that
too.
he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have on. Can you go ahead and read that?
Oh,
I always
I-
thought reptiles attracted females by display, bright colors, or moving fins from Aish Care.
Hmm.
That,
Hmm.
yeah, birds too. I mean, because of their similarities.
Then she finished up this. For cold-blooded creatures, the visitors sure could move fast at any temperature. Boy, ain't that the truth.
Yeah, and they almost like kept going back and forth on whether or not they were cold-blooded or not.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Because they messed up some things. I thought that the original series and stuff. That it's like, wait a minute. I thought I learned that that they go into hibernation, whatever. But I'm not going there. I don't know, and I don't remember enough to
They
remember.
picked and chose what. We'll do this one, and we'll pick that.
Because it works for the script this way, and then
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't have a very comprehensive writer's Bible.
they might not have. They might not have. And I know they made changes from the original what Kenneth Johnson was thinking about doing. So he did
Yeah.
changes. So,
Well, they probably had to for budget constraints, location and set constraints,
mhm.
because
and
it's a
having to
series.
use motorcycles instead of spaceships.
Yes. Well,
Why
couldn't they
does
have
that?
gotten those bikes from Galactica 80?
I
You know,
thought they
I was
were.
thinking
Called
the
up
same thing.
Universal and say, "Hey, we
That's
got
hilarious.
The second I saw the motorcycles, I'm going, okay, this looks oddly familiar.
How about that? I had not thought about that.
put them on one of those camera cranes like they did a couple times for Galactica 80.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm surprised we didn't see I'm surprised we didn't see them fly.
Yep.
But we did not.
So
Jeff was doing a pretty good job trying to get his to fly a few times on a couple of those jumps.
No, that is true.
So unfortunately, crew, I'm going to have to bail on you shortly. The other thing I wanted to leave you with is the white horse that showed up from time to time just standing there. I wasn't sure if it was alive or not, because some of the shots of Elizabeth from air were too high up far away, so I know there's a helicopter in the area and that horse was not spooking. And then a Jeep pulls up right behind it, and that horse did not spook. So either that is the most calm horse in Hollywood in the 1980s, or that was not a real horse or a live horse.
It might not have been a real horse.
It might not have been.
Now you're going to make me want to go back and close up on those scenes and see if I see, ear wiggle or anything.
I know. Yeah, that was even. We had a really calm elderly gelding, and even he would spook or get excited if a car was coming up the driveway.
Yeah.
Not even up to his backside. So have a great day. And
You too.
Right.
if
I
I
think
were on camera,
honestly,
I would be giving you the V sign.
Yeah, and I think we're almost done anyway. So.
Yeah, I think we are.
But I know, Greg, you have to get rolling. So
Yeah, I
have a
gotta
safe
be at my
trip.
destination by sunset. So
Yeah, have a
Yeah.
safe trip.
thank you.
Drive,
Okay, bye-bye,
drive
Greg.
safe. Bye.
I did also think it was hilarious. Not hilarious, but Elizabeth just left. She just, she went out of the basement. She knew that she was supposed to be in hiding, and she leaves
Yeah.
and ends up in the alley. And
Typical teenager.
I was going to say a typical teenager, exactly.
and well, it gave her a chance to use her powers. Gave us a chance to see them. She doesn't really know what's going on yet, I don't think, with her.
No.
No, I think it reacts more when she's either angry or scared.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember yet. We'll see how Willie is able to help her with that. I don't remember yet.
Well, we'll see that in the next 5 episodes, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just looked at your handle underneath, Marcia. I thought it said finish, Marcia, not Spanish, Marcia.
Yeah, I started using that.
Yeah, she's been using that for a while now.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, that's true. But yeah. Hmm. I'm, when I think about this series, I think I always want to see what Kenny Johnson wants to do and would have done. I am so glad that they did something. They really did
Yeah.
something. And because my kids and I used to we watched it every week when it came on. So we had fun with it.
Oh, my mind when you were talking about your kids and what you guys used to do, going back to the old posters with when they went through and they marked it with V. I love the throwback to that kid walking up to the vehicle and marking the V on it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yes, that was heartening to see. I like that. Yeah.
Well, any closing remarks? Or you think we've covered most of the fun stuff?
I think we've covered most of it.
I did see that Kenny Johnson had put up some of his books like he told us he would up on eBay, but they sold out in like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So he's
not surprised. Yeah.
He's probably going to put up some more. And I don't know how many he has. He's going to have a lot if he's going to satisfy even a little tiny bit.
Well, that's the thing, is he probably doesn't have a lot. So
yeah, but it'll go to charity, and that's really nice. Doctors Without Borders, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good charity.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad we got started with the
yeah, I think Aisha has one last comment.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm having issues right now.
Oh, I'll do it, Mark. I'll do it. No problem.
Thank you.
All right. The thing is, you couldn't get anything like this made today. I don't think the TV companies would chance it. I don't necessarily know about that, Aisha. I don't think that you could get the original miniseries to the in-depth that it was, with the parallels that it was today. However, the TV series is almost a completely different beast. So yeah, I think you probably could. You know, and they even did it's either the late 90s or early 2000s, did a remake of the TV
When they
series.
did a remake, yeah.
Yeah.
And that didn't last very long. So.
No, it didn't.
And they did update it some, but it's still it still didn't it didn't last.
Yeah, I agree, Liz, with the hungriness of all of the streaming channels and whatnot. I think the series could be done, because have you seen some of the stuff that they're doing now?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, well, I think I think it would have had a better chance like 5 years ago.
Mm,
They've cut back a lot the last few
mhm. Oh,
years.
that's true with
But
them. Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years ago, I think that it would might have happened
Mhm.
when they seem to have unlimited budgets.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore. So, um, but hey, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the budget that they wound up using on Vikings. And then Vikings Valhalla, the same thing. An
Yeah,
immense amount of budget. Then there's Game of Thrones out there, and all of the whole thing with that is huge budgets. And for unless it's a predominant channel, like it'll be on HBO or something like that,
Mhm.
predominantly these are streaming now. And yes, they are going more and more into the budget for it. So it just depends on whether the show's a hit or not to make and take that chance.
well, and sci-fi is not a big a draw as a drama, or
Yeah.
even fantasy. It seems.
Not anymore. Yeah.
So, oh well. Here we are.
Mhm.
Well, I'm going to say that we're going to wrap this up.
All right.
If you're available tonight, everyone listening to V, and you're into the new Skeleton Crew, we will be talking about, hopefully, Skeleton Crew episodes 1 and 2 tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So tune in to ndbmedia.net. The thing is down at the bottom there. And did Aisha have a last comment?
Yeah. And she's saying, think about it. Battlestar, War of the Worlds, V, and other sci-fi programs. When they try to recreate them, they just bomb because modern audiences are not just that interested.
Yeah, as I said, that's why I don't think that they're not interested, or attention span is different than it used to be, and they have to make them differently. So if they don't do it the way the younger audience wants, that, well, whatever. But that's a whole other discussion.
True.
Mhm.
But on behalf of Marcia, Liz, and Greg, thank you all for coming, and we will see you the next time. Bye bye.
Bye.